Welcome back, everybody, to the Bench Seat Podcast. I'm George Niang. This is my co-host, Kevin Spees. And today we have two guests. Usually we have one. And it pains me, to introduce, the Wagner brothers, who in Cleveland aren't well liked, but they are two good friends of mine. So appreciate you guys coming on the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, who was going to go first? I was seeing because it looked like you were going to jump. Do you guys defer ever, or is it just natural who goes?
Well, he doesn't pass, but he may pass a little bit.
Usually I start talking, but I'm trying to get
Catch
better
the
at
vibe.
that and
Let people like you.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, for all my
Give 'em a
Cleveland,
chance.
to all my Cleveland people out here, drop a couple of comments in the comment section about how you really feel about this guy. No, I'm kidding.
Legal comments.
Yes. No,
historical content.
we'll get into it a little later in the podcast, but these two are tremendous players. We had a great series, first round of the playoffs that led to us winning, but it was a great series. No, but these two just got back from the Olympics. Franz, you want to touch a little bit on how that experience was? First one? Because you were like 12 the last time the Olympics were on, right?
I was 18, 19. My first Olympics. The first week we're in a different city, so not in Paris. So that experience was a little different. But once we got to Paris,
it was
we
lit.
really got to feel the vibe. That we're actually staying in the village, the only basketball team that was there, and we got to just connect, see the other athletes, and just catch the vibe a little bit.
Wait, so no other basketball team stayed in the village?
I think Australia had the choice, and some stayed in a hotel and the others stayed in the village. But we're the only team that the whole team stayed in the village.
How come? Why is that?
I think, most of the teams just make the decision, especially because it's just such a little amount of teams, because we just went there for the final round.
Yeah.
Kind of just decided whether they wanted to stay in the hotel or the village. And the village is, it's a cool experience, but you do sleep in double rooms and it's cardboard beds.
No, that was serious?
Yeah.
Yes,
For
bro.
real?
So
But someone like me would break the cardboard bed.
no, they're made for all types of shapes of athletes.
You
No,
thought
I
that was
say
funny.
He got you.
You better
Doug.
cut the shit, Mo.
No, I say that because that's the cool part about the Olympic Village, right? You pull up there and it's the one athlete does this and eats a lot of food, and the other one looks like a total different body. It's insane. It's a crazy environment that you can't really replicate anywhere else.
So when you guys pulled up to the village, it was kind of like a Step Brothers type thing. Like you guys made bunk beds with the cardboard.
Yeah. Did you make bunk beds, or were you in the same room, or no?
We purposely didn't room together. Yeah.
Who was
Did you
your
room together
roommate?
when you were?
Wait, what?
Who was your roommate?
Johannes Thiemann, Oscar da Silva.
Those are probably great guys.
Probably great basketball players too.
Great
I've heard
basketball
of
players.
that.
Yeah.
What did you guys? Were you there for the opening ceremonies? Did you get to walk in the opening ceremonies and stuff?
I chose not to because that was my second Olympics. I did it the first time. I remember being super tired, and we played the next day at 1:30, and they had to drive 3 hours back and forth to Paris from Lille, and so I chose to stay back. But the rest of the team went, and so like most said, we played Japan the next day at 1:30. So already an early game. We're gonna get back. They said maybe 2 a.m.
Dang.
Because it's like a 3-hour bus ride. I decided to go just because the other guy said it's gonna be a crazy experience and
Once in a lifetime. experience.
exactly. So I don't know if
That was
we're
a-
going to be back at the Olympics. So I said, might as well.
You already did it. You're like, hey,
in
listen.
retrospect, obviously, when I look at the pictures and all that stuff, you wish you were there.
Yeah.
But I made the right decision because I was just happy to be in my bed too early and then have a good game the next day and just feel better about that. But it looked awesome, and Paris in general was super cool.
Is there a team that you played in the Olympics that maybe even the score didn't reflect it, but a team that surprised you, like, oh damn, Japan is actually better at basketball than I thought, or a country that you maybe played in group play that you're like, oh, they're actually not so.
That Japan game, that game was close, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were up 8 at half. I would just say the cool thing about FIBA play, and especially in the Olympics, teams from other continents and other parts of the world, they play just way different basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Japan, they got 2 extremely small, super fast guys.
and you're not used to playing against guys like
Right.
that. You know what I mean? So
That guard was like 5'9", wasn't
And
he?
they just shoot everything.
no,
They
shorter, bro. I'm telling you, shorter.
They just shoot everything. It's reckless and it works.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah,
you
I had
gotta
like
really
30
focus
against France. They almost beat France.
They
That's
should
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're literally just playing a totally different brand of game.
Insane.
They just throw the ball up.
Yeah, and then somehow when you win by 20, everybody's like, yeah, that was kind of easy, but you're like fried
not easy.
because it's so difficult. And then the next day you play Brazil, they play totally different as well.
Yeah.
And then France.
I would say the Brazil game.
yeah, me too.
We had a really good start, and then it was tied at the half. And they played us really physical. They played us really well. I would say the end score didn't reflect how close the game was.
Did you? What's preparation like? Are you really watching film on these dudes, or is it like because it's a tournament, so it's
Yeah.
like you're not getting a ton of prep time? Like, what's that prep
No,
like?
I mean, we in the group play we had 2 days in between games.
Okay.
So the first day you kind of just like analyze the last game, and then
Yeah.
the day before the game you kind of watch personnel and a little bit of their plays. It's definitely more film, a little bit more condensed, but more film than in the NBA, I would say, before a game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. 'Cause
Oh, go ahead.
I would just say it's a little bit more tactical. Like teams play, like teams are way different from one game to the next one. Where in the NBA, everybody kind of runs the same plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA, they joke around and say it's like a copycat league when they're talking about like different styles. There's players that are really good in like FIBA games that could never make it in NBA games, but that doesn't mean that they're not really good because this is like FIBA. There's different rules, there's different styles, and a lot of people watching are like, well, why isn't the US just blowing everybody out? Because the game is more physical. There's no like touch fouls and the tacticality of the game. There's no 3 seconds, right? Yeah. And like you can swipe the ball off the rim
Right off the top
after
of
it
the rim,
touches.
Bro, that rule pisses me off, bro.
Talk to us, Mo. Open up. Talk. Why
Well,
does
if
that
you
bother
play
you?
France and they switch and you got the small guy in the post, and that's the crazy thing. Like I've noticed that like people are not in the NBA. Nobody really posts up anymore. Like you get maybe like a early post up for like a superstar that like goes to work, but like when after the switch, it's just 1-on-1 with the big guy
perimeter.
outside on the
Yeah.
perimeter. In FIBA, you can't do that because it's such a small court. Like you got to mix it up. So like the focus is to post up and actually like walk down the guy and seal. And like you do that against France and you have a layup and you think it's in, you're already counting in your head 7-8 points in the second quarter. And then Wemby comes out of nowhere and just, and you just, what's going on? And it's just so different.
You know, at the car dealership, that blow up thing. That's him.
You got 2 of these dudes, man.
Wiping everything. Well, speaking of that, you know, you guys obviously were, you know, born over in Germany and played over there. What was your thought process, you know, coming over to the United States and playing in college when realistically, some of the journey that most Europeans take as, you know, you guys both suited up for Alba Berlin, right?
Yeah.
Of just staying there, getting paid, and then making the transition where a lot, I hate saying it like this, where a lot of dudes can continue to play in EuroLeague or Euro Cup and then eventually get drafted higher than someone taking the risk of coming over to Europe and playing. What was your guys' thought process? And Franz, then you can answer it because I know he did it before you did.
Well, for me, the situations were a little different for us too. I think I wasn't really on a radar in terms of the NBA. So for me, it was more about, you know that there are scouts out there, and I really wanted to go to the NBA somehow.
Yeah.
But I've kind of figured that if I stayed over there, my chances were limited, and I'd probably end up playing in Europe. So for me, it was like, okay, if there's a big university with a big name that plays on a big platform, there's a shot there because I know I was good enough. You just need, at some point,
opportunity.
You need an opportunity, but you also need a platform. People
Like
need
exposure.
to see you. You need exposure. You need to be on ESPN, and not just being good enough is not enough. Like you need that. You need that exposure. Yeah. So Michigan was the perfect fit. Like I wasn't just gonna go to college because I needed a spot that would play on ESPN on a Tuesday night or whatever it is, and I needed a bigger school that kind of makes sense in terms of basketball fit. Yeah. So I kind of got lucky that Beeline.
Were you guys familiar with the basketball universities growing up, or was that a later in life thing you become familiar with like the big time basketball
I would
universe?
say like it's like the cool thing to like know a little bit. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like
yeah.
if you have like had like a Duke shirt on, or you knew something about college
Yeah.
basketball, you're like, oh, like that guy really knows basketball.
Yeah.
But like honestly, growing up, college was like the coaches around us and the people around us that are teaching us basketball. They're like, college basketball is not good.
Yeah.
Like,
They're like,
don't go
do it.
there. They like tactically it's not as good. They don't teach players how to play.
Did you feel that experience when you went?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think it's a completely different approach to basketball, though. I think tactically, I'll be honest. I think EuroLeague is the best basketball in the world. Like the different plays, the different sets that they run. I think in Europe, you kind of learn more how to play off the ball a little bit.
Mhm.
And in college, I think it's just a way different approach. And I think to make it to the NBA, you need to know that approach. I think a lot of guys that come over late, straight from a professional team, they get to the NBA and they're surprised by that a little bit, or it takes them a little bit of time to adjust to that. And that's why that was I know I wanted to go second, but that was my thought process. I knew I had a shot going to the NBA even from Alba.
Yeah.
But I thought to like really play well in the NBA, I needed to adjust to that American approach
Style.
style to playing basketball.
To go back to that, because I remember being with the Lakers at that point when Franz had to make a decision.
Oh, to come over to the States?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was like, part of me was scared that if he went to Michigan, to Juwan, like obviously the connection is myself.
Right.
And I don't really, but I somewhat felt like I carried responsibility if this went bad. And he told me like it really didn't make sense because Franz had the perfect setup. Like he probably would have been in the draft at least like probably max in 2 years, right? Is that correct? He had the exposure. He played EuroLeague. He was super young. The coach loved him. And it really, everything was set up for him. And then I remember he had like a deadline and he took his sweet ass time to make the decision. The whole family was kind of waiting. And then he called me and was like, dude, and I 100% thought he was going to stay over there because like it just didn't make sense. It was a surefire shot. And he goes, no, I wanted to do it the difficult way. I want to prove to myself that I can do that and it makes sense. And like nowadays we are adults, like it sounds cool, but to say that and to think that as a 15, 16-year-old is pretty like impressive.
Cool, yeah.
That's when you were like, oh, he's going to do this shit now.
And when he said that, I was like, bro, you got it, dog.
Well, I think like there's something about like making that big jump, even though it might not be like the safe decision, and then it works out for you and you get a whole different confidence. Even after like before you get drafted, you can look back on that experience and say, I did that, even though maybe it wasn't, as like the way it wasn't just paid for me. And
you took the road less traveled a little bit, and you almost like put yourself into some shit, kind of.
Yeah,
I mean, to get out of.
Also got to say to that, like, obviously, I was exposed to college before because of Mo. Like going over there as anywhere that's not America and going into that setting, it's super difficult to adjust, and you gotta have the right mindset and the right personality to flourish in that setting. I think it's it's not the best decision for every person.
No, absolutely.
Is it tough to? Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. Is it tough to be making money playing basketball and then play basketball for free?
Wait, you guys
didn't make money.
Oh, you did.
That's what allowed them to go play.
Yeah.
over
but you're on a pro team. You just don't make money.
Yeah,
we were insured through our parents. This
is a topic that's extremely funny in my opinion.
I don't understand
still, like, how it's not a franchise, it's how do you say that? It's a club. So it's sponsored by people that are part of the club.
Yeah.
And we were still paying those.
So as a kid going through the club, you like pay fees to be part of the club, right?
Yeah.
It's like not a lot of money, but you pay fees for tournaments to
They were paying to play basketball.
Yes, technically we were still paying that.
That is insane. I did not know that. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, I know that it's like
it sounds worse than it is. It's just a funny.
It's just hilarious.
They're like, Franz, Mo, you owe $2.
And also, if we wouldn't have paid that bill, they probably wouldn't have been like, oh,
yeah,
it's nothing. Money.
They were knocking on the door.
In retrospect, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations as a young player, you have to be like really sure what you want to do because you know, they say you can sign this contract right now, and you have to be like confident enough in yourself to say, no, I'm not signing.
Because that money looks good as a 40.
Yeah,
Damn, yeah, you can start getting paid.
Hey, we're gonna give you
right?
$250, $250,000. You're like, wow, that's a lot of Kit Kats.
So you were turning contracts away basically every year?
Well, no. So what happens is after high school, at a certain point when it becomes serious, when you're done with school, there's a time where you negotiate your first, they call it development contract or real basketball contract. And we both got offered that contract and said no to it because we wanted to keep that opportunity to go to college.
The NBA and the NBA dream was like that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we said no to that. It wasn't as high as you just said, but like that's still a lot of money, especially if you've never had money before and your family never seen that money. Like that's,
Yeah.
and also, I mean, you know how it is when you get your first check and you realize, bro, I'm about to turn pro with what I love to do. That's just so meaningful.
Yeah.
And to have that at such a young age is pretty cool. And to say no to that,
Yeah.
I remember that being extremely powerful. Not in a
Yeah.
negative way, but
Also
like,
got to say to that, like the teams obviously in Europe, they want to keep their young players. One, because they're probably cheaper than the prospect of that talent is.
yeah.
But two, once you go to the NBA and you still have a professional contract over there, the NBA team has to pay the buyout. And the buyout is like $750,000 or something like that right
So
now.
they
Maybe
like
it
it.
went up already.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of money for those teams. So that's really obviously like our team from home, you know, they feel a type of way about not getting that money because we went to
Yeah.
college. And
Yeah.
I mean, it is fair from their perspective, but for us, obviously, we're 17 years old at the time. We're trying to figure out what we want to do
Do with
as
life.
Yeah,
What's
with life, not even with basketball. Like this is also a life
Yeah.
decision.
Mhm.
So yeah,
I
but
had
I get their point too.
I had a similar thing that happened to me. I was working at a Chili's and I was the head server and I was going through school and they offered me a managing position. And it was $55,000 and I
Yeah.
turned it down so I could keep going to school.
Yeah.
Then I became a teacher.
Kevin-
and made $55,000.
Kevin's great at telling those stories, isn't he? We love you.
He loves those stories. No, I can imagine that's really hard to do. And props to you guys for that. That sounds like a tough decision, but you guys made the right decision.
And
Well, also, like, it's really not, I mean, it's difficult to make a decision to go to college, but, like, let's be real, it's really not. You know what I mean? Like, in retrospect, I shouldn't have lost sleep over that. That was a pretty surefire thing.
Yeah.
I always knew I was going to do it if I had the offer. It just takes a while to convince yourself at that age, I would say.
What's it like being on the same team now? I mean, like, is that awesome? Did you ever think you'd be on the same team or like?
I mean, he doesn't know any other way, so I'm a
Yeah, I
take the
guess.
rein on this.
Yeah. Because you got traded before you got there, right?
no, this
Multiple
guy's been
times.
a journeyman.
I've been a journeyman since he came, and now I'm privileged enough to stay in Central Florida for a while. Well, I'll say, I mean, you know this, like, you can only play 4 or 5 hours basketball a day,
Yeah.
and the rest of the time is, if you don't have a family on your own, it's like
It gets lonely.
it's
for
lonely
Sure.
and boring. And I don't mean this in a negative way. It's an awesome job, and I love it. But like to have family there, regardless whether that's part of the team or not, it's just dope. Like that's really cool. And we also work on how to behave around each other because there has to be a culture of how to get along with each other. And then there's the teammate Franz, the teammate relationship, and then the brother relationship. And I got to be very aware how we speak on the court and off the court and about what. So it's not always easy.
Yeah.
But it's an incredible dynamic, and I've really enjoyed it. And obviously, it's been my most fun years in the league.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Yeah, I would say there's like basketball wise where I think we never really played together, but we grew up playing the same way. So I think that part was fairly easy. We kind of know each other's games really well now. But I think it's really interesting, like living together as adults now. You get to know your brother that obviously you know your whole life, but you get to know
a different way, kind of.
Yeah, a whole new way, like way better. I know him way better than I did 3 years ago, and I think that part's pretty cool.
True,
Yeah, this is my bro, but we work together. We're coworkers. No, it's
Being
crazy
torn.
how it all comes like full circle because obviously in the NBA, and you can attest to it, if you weren't watching your brother, how much college basketball were you watching? None, right?
Yeah, not at all.
Once you get to the NBA, it's like college basketball is just like an afterthought.
good.
And I remember, obviously I was close with Mo, but he's like, yeah, you have a brother coming up, and I didn't really know. I've watched a little bit because they were successful in college, but when he got to do like summer workouts before,
You guys were working out?
yeah, we were working out together, and we were like going up against each other, and he's just so strong. Like, and I thought I was strong, but he'd like drive the ball and like strong and like keep his dribble and still dribble. And there was a point where I was just like coming off a season, and I was like, I'm coming to work out, and I don't really want to guard this dude who keeps like dribbling.
So doesn't even make money yet.
Yeah. So he was like dribbling, and like I was having to guard like a lot of stuff. And I was like, you're doing all that fucking dribbling. The only team that's ever gonna take you is the fucking Orlando Magic. No way. And that's when the Magic like we're like going through their like low period. And then they draft him, and then now I have to watch him fucking drive into me and fucking bust my ass. I'm like, George, your mouth gets you in so much trouble.
Like what? No, that's what he did. No, point at you.
Oh yeah. Can we speak about that? What happened?
Well, I'm sure we'll show the clip. This is my fucking podcast, so don't fucking laugh, all right, buddy? But yeah, no, I mean that's kind of like my thing to throw people off their game and talk shit. And these guys in the playoffs, they were definitely ready for that. And it was a heck of a series. I mean, me and Mo get into it. Franz sort of, when I get on my bullshit, he'll do like this look and like laugh and be like, and he doesn't say anything. He'll just look. But Mo,
you talk shit, right? I saw you.
No, he triggers me though. He does shit on purpose.
So here's the thing: Mo is like ultra physical. So when I try to be physical with Mo, is like when he's not looking.
You're dirty, bro.
He'll be you cannot say that. He'll be rolling down the lane, and I'll like
give him up.
So one time I did it. It was like game 3.
Look how he's excited at you.
And I stuck him good, and he was like, huh! And then he saw that it was me, and he's chasing me up the court. He was like, okay. He was like, the next time I do something like that, don't act like you're hurt, because I'm gonna get you.
I love when like people hear that shit around us though, and they're like, all right, they just do their own shit.
They're just going after each other.
Yeah.
And it's tough because, and I hate surrendering like this type of baton to Franz, because he's technically like, what he's worried about during a game is totally different than like what me and Mo are worried about in the second unit. You know what I mean? Like
he
the second
really shouldn't be on this podcast. It's a bench podcast.
Yeah. He's never on the bench.
Here, bro?
Yeah. So it's like in the second unit, it's like we're trying to beat them, and in Franz's unit, it's like he's like, okay, I got a double team coming at me. How am I going to be able to get my
How
other
do I get my 30 points today?
So there'd be like other times we were in Philly, and me and Mo would be going back and forth. And there was one time I was in transition in Philly, and I caught the ball, and I was just like, I'm going to shoot it.
That was a crazy
And he caught it,
shot.
and in midst of me shooting it, he's like, there's no fucking way you're shooting this. And I shot it and made it. And he was like, why the fuck did you shoot that?
Bro, that was the worst shot. I wish we can pull that up. It was in transition. He looked at me, didn't even look at the basket, and just shoots the thing.
Hey, Franz, I made it.
And I go like, you crazy, bro. That was hilarious.
How, like, obviously, there's a bunch of people you're friends with in the NBA, right? Like, how long after the game?
Less.
Yeah, but like, obviously, you guys get after it. Like, you get competitive. How long after do you need to like cool off before you can start texting each other after like a heated game like that, or when you're breaking each other's balls? Like, does it take a couple days?
So I have 2 stories here, and I'll start off with the one with Franz. So this year, I started off not shooting the ball well, and we were playing down in Orlando, and I had a 3 to shoot, and I shot it, and like Franz like hit my hand, and I was looking at the ref like, that's a foul. But in the midst of being like, that's a foul, the ball came back to me, and he was still in the play. Right? So I pump faked again, he jumped by, and I shot it again, and I thought he fouled me again. And nobody called, and I was like, that's a fucking foul.
Definitely fouled you too.
And I lost my mind to that he was standing there, and I just went up to him and was like, and pushed him.
Like it was his fault that you didn't get the call?
Yeah. And I just had like an out-of-body experience, and I was like, I'm definitely getting teched up. And the refs just missed it. And like quickly after that, I was like, yo, Franz, like, I was just pissed off. That was my fault. So
you're a little too nice right now. I did hit you like a little in the face, because it was like a transition.
I did smack you in the face.
It was like a transition 3, and I was like,
you.
I was behind George, so I was like catching up to him, and he stopped, and I tried to get the ball, but I got his face a little bit. So but he still shot and missed it. And then on the way back, he like hit me as I'm trying to run back in transition.
Like it was dirty. Like that was a dirt. Like I'll sit here and say that was a dirty. I'm not a dirty player, but that was a dirty play.
You had a dirty moment. But like, do you text after the game or like
he was a little sensitive about the texting during the playoffs because right?
Oh no. I just in the playoffs, I just wasn't trying to be like give off like the friendly vibe. And game 1, he came out. He was like, oh, and he could sense I wasn't like talking. He was like, oh, so that's what we're fucking doing. And
you try to get under his skin a little.
Well, no, not really. I somewhat obviously
he can compartmentalize and separate the
yeah, we're super competitive, right?
Yeah.
Like we all are. That's what we're out there for. And I kind of enjoy that paradox almost, but that dynamic of brotherhood and competitiveness. And I think that's part of it. Even with players that you don't know, I think there's a certain level of respect when things go down that way. And you can crack a joke afterwards too. Like that's just what we do. You play against each other for, 10 plus years.
Yeah.
You develop relationships, and it's still that's the cool part of playing in the league, that it's super highly competitive. And George can hit me dirty on that roll, but I can say something back, and then we'll laugh about it after. That's just part of the game, and that's why we love doing it.
But so. And then the story about Mo, where I got super sensitive when I was in Philly, I think we had just like lost them. It was a bad loss.
First, I just love your face because you're just laughing at this guy. He's like just waiting to hear it.
Yeah, I'm a mental case.
Yeah. Also, you remember all these stories.
Oh,
you do.
Guys, I know this isn't the highlight of your life, but this is a highlight of my life. All right.
All right. So what happened?
So we're in Philly, and they weren't having a great year. It was the end of the year, and we had like back-to-back games, and they ended up beating us, right? And I was in garbage time, and Mo was in there, and he fucking hammered me and laid the ball in and was like, too small. Like
I don't know if that happened. I don't know.
Probably. Yeah.
It was something that, and him just doing it to just like bust my chop. And I was so like in my feelings. I was like, shut the fuck. And like usually after the game, you go and like dap people up, and like, so I was looking for him, and Mo didn't dap anyone up. He turned around and walked.
I never dap people up. I hate that stuff.
And I got to the locker room, and we have like a group chat.
That is hilarious.
And I was like, fun. Mo, if you ever do that again, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Well, then I think Harry pointed out, because he was watching the game, he was like, there's something going on with George and Mo in the game right now. And it was like in the group chat.
And I was like, as a matter of fact, meet me in the back hallway so we can talk about it. Meet me fucking now. And everybody in the group chat that was there was like, yo, what the fuck's going
texted
on?
us individually, like, is this serious? And then
Mo meets me in the back hallway.
And I took a picture of the back hall. Where you at, man?
Oh, so you guys knew you were kidding?
And I was no. Oh, you were tight. I was pissed, and then I get back there, and we just hugged each other, laughing.
It goes away.
Oh my!
We were like, let's not tell the other guys. Let's tell them we fucking threw punches over here.
Yeah. You're just playing a trick on people. That's so funny. I can imagine it's like that would be really, really hard for me to do. Like if I get competitive, I get angry, and it just. I'm a mental case. You think you're a mental case? I'm a mental case. I can't separate the two.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Franz, coming over, to the United States, did you expect this journey to go the way it was going? And when did you kind of have a feel where you were like, all right, like if I can get this, and this down, like I'm really gonna take off?
To be honest, after college, I was a little disappointed in how I played in college.
Yeah.
I think I showed skills, obviously, that I can translate to the NBA, but I felt like I could play better than I did in college. So then I thought just from that point on, everything obviously went perfectly for me. I think I got drafted to the right team in the right situation. And I think at some point in the rookie year, like coming into the NBA, I didn't expect to start. I didn't expect to play pick and roll. I expected to play a lot because I was the rookie on a not great team, and I expected to just like be a role player basically at the start. And they gave me so much opportunity and chances to try stuff too, and that gave me just so much confidence. So after that rookie year, I would say I felt like that I was in the right spot and will get more opportunities. And at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for. So I was
your team
from that point on.
Is fun to watch, and like you have a lot of good young players.
They're what?
They're
you like watching them?
I enjoyed that series. First off, I was lucky enough because we were filming a podcast. I was lucky enough to get down to game 3 during your series.
Nice.
And
That was a
Fucking
fun
massacre.
Like,
Holy
an awesome
shit.
game.
It was this is probably going to show my bias, I guess, as like a Northeast person. You don't really think of Orlando as this like great fan base, but you go down there and you're like, these people are passionate about the Magic. And the game was a spectacle. Like just the show of the game, like the lights, the timeout stuff they have going on, the
Cool.
mascot, they like put on a full-on show. And the crowd was just wild. It was really, really cool to see. I was surprised by it. I guess I shouldn't have been, but I was surprised.
It honestly seemed like Orlando was like super like ready to have playoff basketball because when we got down there in game 3, it was like Orlando, like since I've been in the NBA, Orlando hit or miss, right?
Yeah.
And then when it was like Franz hits a 3, Jalen Suggs hits a 3, this guy's screaming while he made a wide open layup running down the court. It was like this place is fucking loud.
And the game started off so slow. Like no one could make a shot the first like 6-7 minutes. And then you guys started going off and the crowd, it just
Not
like,
Franz.
took
He
off.
made everything.
yeah.
But that was game 4, no?
Yeah, that was
yeah.
the game.
Game 4, I think he had like 30. But he still had a good game in game 3. I think that was Paulo had 30 or something. He went off.
Paulo was.
No, I mean we were there. This was our 3rd year now. So the first 2 years, I felt like you could. The first year, I felt like it was a road game every time we played at home almost. Like especially if we played like the big name teams.
Mhm.
And then the second year with Paulo coming there, and we got some more wins. You could feel it a little bit. But then this 3rd year, we felt the love from the city so much. People were so excited about watching us and going to the games, and I thought that was a really cool experience for everybody on the team because we had been through tough times, and it wasn't always like that people were talking about us. So I think that game 3 was really cool. Like I remember being in the locker room and we talked about that. Like this is what we worked for. Like this is dope. That like we can hear the fans loud as hell outside. Like that's not normal or we weren't used to that yet.
And I also learned from that, and I don't know if you agree with that, but like if that game 7 is in Orlando, like it's a totally different game. Like the home court advantage matters. The games in January matter.
It didn't feel like it mattered when we were down 20. That's for
I know,
sure.
but like think about it like you guys went on a 9-point run to finish the 3rd quarter, and all of a sudden you're down 4 to 7 points with that emotional down.
It feels like
that feels like you're down 15, 20 points going in the 4th. Like it's just so different. And that's what I learned most in the playoffs. Like, this is my first playoffs. Like, home court matters. It's insane.
Do you think you'll have a little more motivation now? Like you said, those January Tuesday night games where you're going to Cleveland and you're coming back the next day. It's like, oh, this is tough. Do you think you'll have like a little more foresight to be like, this matters. We got to fucking win these games. Like, you never know what's going to add up at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think as a team, I think the urgency has always been there. You can talk about it as much as you want. It's just the nature of it that probably in February your urgency isn't as high as it should be, or isn't as high as it is in April, May. But obviously, there's certain things you can't teach, you got to experience them. That's one of them. Going along those lines too, like when you go to training camp, you're not getting ready for the season. Now you're getting ready to be good in May. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to have a good playoffs, and that's everything you work for. And now you have that standard. And I think that does a lot to a young team like that.
Yeah, playoff experience is real. And I mean, I think, like I said before, like the way I talk about the playoffs is totally different than what I have to manage mentally than like a Franz or, even like a Mo. But that being said, like when you get that experience, and I've never gotten to the playoffs where my last game was a win. Like I've never won a championship, so I don't know what that feels like. But that disappointment, especially the first time, you're like, okay, now I got a little taste, and now like I know what I'm coming back for the next year.
Sure.
And like, I mean, even KG talked about it, on his podcast. He was like, you go to Orlando, I need a great night's sleep. You got the Wagner, bro. It's like that's what the Orlando and like obviously I'm talking in my podcast hat, not like my NBA hat, because I'd be like, fuck these dudes, But like Orlando has really turned itself into a team where you're like, you used to go down there thinking, okay, who am I gonna whoop-wop around?
Yeah, it's
So,
not
like,
sharp.
I better fucking come in with my hard hat on because this is gonna be the young guys that they're rolling out, how they play together, how well they're coached.
It seems like everyone is like bought into their role. Like Cole, I loved Cole Anthony coming out. It's like he's coming off the bench now and playing great. Like, you know, where he's maybe thought early on in his career, you know, especially thinking he was going to be a lottery pick. It just seems that everyone's bought into a role, kind of like, or it's a team that's together and definitely on the rise. So it's fun. It's fun to like watch from afar.
Okay, so we asked Duncan Robinson. Sorry to cut you off.
Can we do one more thing before we ask this last question?
Okay, go.
There's something on the internet that is viral or was a couple years ago of German people saying the word squirrel. Have you seen this?
They have squirrel.
I think I was like in German or
No. Like they try to say the English word squirrel. Squirrel.
Squirrel. I have a problem with situation, and I still don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Am I saying the right? Squirrel?
It's pretty
No,
good. Yeah.
Squirrel.
Squirrel. Yeah.
Squirrel.
But a lot of people were saying like squirrel.
Well, we've been here for now. I've
Yeah,
been
you
here
guys.
for 10 years.
What,
Probably
this
my
is a
learning
what?
curve isn't as steep as Franz, but a little high level of self-awareness.
I will say that is a
I got
tough
that. I can provide that.
that is a tough word. I will say that.
It's hard. Squirrel.
What about situation?
Situation.
He always makes fun of me, which is so fucking
Yeah, that's a bad situation.
Situation.
No, you say it weird, bro.
Situation.
I can
I know-
feel.
I know-
can feel.
I know
Say
why.
paradox again.
Paradox.
Yeah, you say that great. I know where you're saying I know where you're saying situation wrong. You're not adding the situation.
Situation. Oh. It's getting worse.
Situation.
I'm just gonna say it that, and people can make fun of me. I don't care.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You speak German, George.
Gute Nacht.
That's pretty good.
That means good night for all of you people out there.
Okay, so hit them with it.
Yeah, you guys are foodie guys. They took us to Bar Petey.
Oh, you guys
Shout
went
out to
last-
Bar
Yeah,
PD.
Bar
Yeah,
Petey.
place is great.
I told them I'm coming for that long sleeve because they
Have
tried
you-
to give me a small yesterday, and they know Niang doesn't fit into a small.
Have you done carbone, the spicy rig? You got to do carbone if
Yeah.
you haven't done it.
Yeah, bro,
Come on, dog.
What?
seriously, you act like you're talking to rookies, man.
Like-
Show some respect.
Bar Pity
It's
is
our
like
city,
great.
bruh.
Yeah,
It's
I
our
love Bar
city.
Pity, but like, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, we called up Cole Anthony. He got us to hook up.
No, what's the question though?
Top 3 favorite NBA cities and top 3 restaurants are in those cities.
Oh, wow. In those. Okay.
No, so like just one restaurant from each city.
Yeah, but don't do New York because we already know.
Okay.
Yeah,
dude,
we already know
so-
Bar Petey. Yeah,
so
we
like,
already know.
we're looking for like, there's a really good restaurant in Dallas or something that's like.
I knew you were
off
gonna
the
say.
beaten path.
You know that Zion clip where he goes Dallas.
Who?
No,
You don't know that
What
clip?
you got in Dallas?
What you got in Dallas? See, you don't know that clip. I was gonna say Dallas as a joke, but you guys know.
What you got in Dallas?
yeah.
What you got going on in Dallas? I mean, you gotta put Los Angeles in there,
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah, catch.
the best
we
restaurant?
know you're
No,
going
my
to catch
favorite
out there.
restaurant in LA. Ooh, there's this spot, and I used to live there. So Manhattan Beach Post, fire. They have
Manhattan
these-
Beach Post.
Oh, great restaurant.
Is that dinner?
Yeah,
Post.
really good spot.
There's a place in I think it's West Hollywood in LA that's a brunch place called Toast. It was on Entourage. Have you ever happened to watch the show
Of
Entourage?
course, I watched
Yeah,
it.
it's a great one.
You kind of look like Mini Chase.
Or, I mean, he has
Thank
that
you.
role for sure.
He definitely
You know
does.
what I mean?
Take care of us.
I'm drama, and I'm happily
Yeah.
am.
I guess I'm Turtle.
Yeah.
Come on, drama.
Come on, drama.
That's fucking.
Damn, I gotta think
Um,
about that.
Manhattan Beach Post is in LA. Then Chicago, Toronto.
Oh, dude, we got a
Yes.
lot of love for
Toronto.
Toronto. You like Toronto
I
too?
like
I
Toronto.
love
Toronto has
Toronto.
the European vibe.
Yeah,
Toronto.
Toronto's
It does, right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Is there a good restaurant you like in Toronto?
I feel like I've only been there a couple times. Like
All you gotta do is go to STK.
No,
man.
we've been to
STK.
Soto a couple
Ooh.
times.
yes, that
Really
that,
good Italian
That
restaurant.
old Italian.
What's it
Yeah.
called?
Soto,
Soto.
Soto, Drake.
Sitting
Fire.
at Soto drinking women,
Oh yeah, it's a
Talking
Drizzy
women
line.
and
talking
Vino.
of women
Yeah.
and vino.
Yeah.
But there's another good
spot.
breakfast place in Toronto called Mildred Kitchen.
Slams.
Best pancakes I've ever had.
Okay, so if we're talking
Mildred?
breakfast, there's a place around here, Mildred. It's called.
Yeah. Are you going to tell us another one of your stories?
No, I'm talking about can I contribute to the restaurant?
They had these great pancakes.
Southwestern pancakes. There's a really good breakfast burrito around here. It's the best breakfast burrito I've ever had at Electric Burrito. It's got carne asada in it, French fries, eggs, bacon. It's the best thing I've ever had.
Americans are so weird, bro.
It's
How
crazy.
is that a breakfast? I'm sorry, but that's crazy.
Yeah, you got to eat it. The way to do
What
it is like
breakfast to you?
like scrambled eggs.
it has that in it.
Some avocado. Yeah, it has that in it. Sure, but it also has like fries in it.
I would say third favorite city is Chicago.
You do.
Yeah.
Did you do the deep dish?
No.
Pizza?
Too much.
I hate the pizza.
That's
Really?
Sorry, yeah.
Bro, watch out, bro. Chicago people are like,
Yeah, they're gonna-
insane
What does
about
he
that.
care? He's in
No,
Orlando.
I just don't
for a
like. I love
minute.
Chicago, guys. I just don't like that.
Is there a restaurant you
They're
like in
super
Chicago?
sensitive about that.
I'm bad at remembering restaurants.
I'll say
Sorry.
this. Okay, one more city, right? I need one more.
Yeah, you need one more.
Well, Chicago is a good one. Don't really like
Well,
Miami too much.
No,
We can veer off this.
I like Washington. I
really.
like DC.
DC.
Wow,
Yeah, I like
DC.
DC.
Have you been out in DC?
No.
You talking about Chocolate City?
That's what they call it.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
Yeah, that's what they
Chocolate
call
City.
it.
Why do they call it?
When I got
I-
traded there, was the first thing JaVale McGee told me. He's like, Chocolate City, baby. I'm like,
JaVale McGee, very underrated teammate. He is
The
awesome.
best.
That's a good player.
He
Love
is.
Put together.
great
a career.
vet. Great
But
vet.
you know what? We'll kind of just transition off this. Maybe this will be better. We had someone come on the podcast a couple guests ago. His name is Ronnie Deutsch, aka Tommy Dowd. He grew up with me and Duncan, and he's known for chugging beers. And in
I heard
Germany,
about this.
and in Germany they have Oktoberfest.
Yes.
And so if you guys could have a top 3 of people you would want to share a beer with at Oktoberfest, whether it's German celebrity or someone from the world, or
Wow, that's
actors.
a great one.
who would it be? Let's hear your
And
top
would you have
3,
a
and then
big
you-
beer? Would you have like a big ass like?
And what do you say when you like cheer like during
Prost.
Oktoberfest?
Prost.
Prost.
Prost. Prost.
I need to
Prost,
do that. I need.
I'm going to Oktoberfest.
Same.
3
Let's do it.
people.
We should do that.
I'm going.
Yeah.
I just need to get my outfit.
Yeah. We get you some leather pants.
Yeah.
3 people. I've had this question before. How political can we get on this?
Very, very.
I would love to like. No, I can't. I'm not sure if I can
Say
do
it.
that.
Say
In
it.
Florida, I'm not sure.
Just throw it out there, dude. It'll go viral. So we're in an election year.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not.
Bush?
No, I'm not going to shoot that. You go.
I think Barack Obama isn't a bad.
That's not crazy. I think
That's
that's
not
a
bad.
great.
I think
No,
that's
I
a
was going to
great
go the
pick.
other direction. I was going to ask Don. I would love to have a beer with Donald Trump
Yeah.
and ask him if he's serious, if he means what he's saying. I genuinely am interested.
Yeah.
And I don't even mean this in a demeaning way. I'm just genuinely curious of how much real and how much.
You're trying to
So-
understand what's going on in his brain.
Well, I'm trying, honestly. The political system in America is pretty
Very different.
incredible to observe as a neutral person.
Yeah. Well, you don't have a vote. You can just observe.
That's what I'm
Right,
saying.
yeah.
So, yeah, that would be one. Dalai Lama is the second one.
Wow. And I'm not sure he drinks.
So he's.
That would make it interesting more for me.
Yeah.
There's alcohol-free beers.
Yeah, there is.
O'Doul's.
Shout to Athletic.
O'Doul's.
Athletic is.
Athletic is.
One more, friend. You got one more.
It can be
Wait,
athlete.
are you 21 yet?
Dude, yeah.
Can you, in Germany, you don't need to be 21 to
18,
drink beer,
right?
buddy.
Yeah.
We sound like alcoholics.
I don't know.
It could even be like a hot chick.
I was going to say,
Oh,
just
yeah.
like
Jessica Alba.
Blake Lively.
Oh,
Blake
I
Lively.
think about her. Oh.
I'd love to have
Blake
a beer with
Lively,
her.
you heard it first.
Serena Vanderwoodson. I would love to drink a beer with her.
Wait, I gotta.
All right. Well, we'll have to do a.
What are you doing?
We'll have to do a Oktoberfest.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Guys, thank you so much for jumping on with us. This was great. Good luck to you guys. You got a fan in me. I'm obviously a Jets fan, but you also have a fan.
This is bad.
Fan of these two guys and me. And now that I know they're cool dudes, it's like, come on.
Yeah.
I want to be rooting.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Appreciate you guys coming
Go
on.
Magic,
Thank you.
baby.
Until next time, go Cavs. This is the Bench Sheet Podcast. We're out.
Let them know.